We got in this last session the restoration of 80 positions that had been authorized but not funded, and that was a huge thing that happened. Senator Johnson, we're so thankful to you on the Ways and Means Committee, and Senator Roblin and others of you who are here for getting us those 80 positions. It's made a big difference, and we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to open our courts. But our greatest need, our greatest infrastructure is people, and our greatest need is for staffing. We also need judges and staff to make timely decisions in our cases. It's very important and increasingly important in this world that the people get answers to their questions expeditiously. People don't want to wait. Businesses cannot wait. People cannot wait to have their disputes resolved. We got a letter from a woman who it was in a tragic situation. Her daughter was in a car accident. She was in the 3rd trimester of her pregnancy. The daughter died in the car accident. The baby survived. There was a custody dispute over who was going to take care of that baby. It was set for trial. The people it was very emotional to relive what had happened. It was very difficult to have a dispute about this baby. They had expert witnesses. They were all ready. They spent days preparing. They got to court, and the court said, "I'm sorry, we don't have a judge." The judge that we had to continue on in the trial. We don't have any more. We're going to have to wait. Your case is postponed. 5 months. 5 months they had to wait for that case to come back up. And in that time, the family quarreled and things fell apart, and it was a disaster for that child and that family. They needed their case resolved earlier. I've had similar expressions of the need for timeliness from businesses. You've got a partnership. Are we going to have to sell the business? Can we work it out? Employees waiting and hanging. It's just very difficult. So this last time, again, in the legislature, we received 2 new judges, particularly to help us on our dependency cases, which is very important that we move those cases along and determine whether children should be taken from their families or removed, or how to get them into permanent placements. And these judges were particularly to help us with the timeline on those cases. The legislature understands the real need for our courts to have the resources to timely decide our cases, and they respond, and it's really terrific. We have a need for recruiting and training of judges and staff. We just do not have the time and resources to bring them up to speed on all these huge areas of law that I've told you about, the breadth of the law. And what about the new laws that are passed every year? I can't remember how many new laws were just passed. What was it, Representative Weldy?
700.
700 new laws. So they can't barely breathe trying to administer the law that they already know. And now they've got to learn 700 new laws when they don't have time to try the case for the woman who needs her custody of her child determined. Now, how are we going to take time out to train them? And how are we going to have the resources for the training? So the recruitment of judges and the training of judges is a huge issue for us. Then we need safe courthouses, as Judge Backhart mentioned. We have our counties, how we've got things in Oregon. The counties are responsible for the physical facilities where we dispense justice. We've got many old courthouses, many courthouses that are unsafe. The state has been stepping up, using its bonding authority to help us with that, but we do have employees who are fearful and the public who is fearful, so we need to do better there. And then our 5th need there's more, but I'm only telling you about the most pressing ones. We have a lot of people coming to our courthouses who are unrepresented. They don't have lawyers. They feel like they can't afford lawyers. In our criminal cases, they're appointed a lawyer to represent them if they can't afford one, but in our civil cases, there's no right to that. So people come many times either represented by legal aid, but they're only meeting 15% of the need, so the rest of the people are coming without lawyers. And in our family law cases, that's in over 80% of the cases, we've got at least one party who doesn't have a lawyer. So our staff and our judges are prohibited by law from giving legal advice to those people, but we have to help them navigate the system some way. So when I was out visiting in, I think it was Jackson County, Josephine County, they showed me this 25-page handout that they try to give to people in these complex cases. Can you imagine trying to understand the law that it takes a lawyer 3 years to learn, and you've got a 25-page handout? And then I saw in another county the line of people waiting. They had a position called a court facilitator. Fabulous position. We could use so many more of them. But the line was down the hall. They were going to get a 1-hour appointment 3 weeks from now to help facilitate, to navigate the system. So the burden of the non-represented people really does fall on the courts, and it's a pressing need. These are our most basic needs, and I hope that later on in the discussion we can talk more about not just how to make it so that we can resolve the many cases that come to us, but also so we can help with solving the problems that plague our communities. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Deep.